Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Udi Goran, and I was actually very surprised to see how many questions you guys sent in, and honored that you took your time to ask and follow, and I hope that you're here to listen to the answers. And now we're going to start with the questions. Really, it was feeling very discontent professionally and the war with Gaza that made me feel like I absolutely don't belong in this place anymore. And instead of walking away from it, wanting to reconnect. So this was the inspiration to do this. And the revelations that came afterwards, man, there were a lot of them. But I think the biggest thing was as soon as you actually live life, when you experience things for yourself and not through headlines and not through what politicians tell you and not through talkbacks on Facebook, but when you're actually outside meeting people, seeing your country, seeing your land for what it is, then your whole experience changes. I think the pictures that I like the most, they seem like they were taken in Europe or taken in somewhere in Africa, and the reason being is that they show the vast diversity that Israel has and that the trail shows. So the first one I'm going to talk about is from Amud Creek up north. I really like the composition of it. I really like the feel it has, very tranquil, very soothing. And because Israel is very scarce on water, being able to shoot, to photograph water and make it seem this lush, green, vital environment is one of these illusions that I was talking about. The other one I'm going to mention is is a picture from the Elot Outlook. It's an outlook that overlooks the whole of the Sea of Galilee, the Lower Galilee, the Golan Heights, the Jordan Valley, the Jordan River, and it's a place I didn't even know existed. The reason I really like this picture is that the whole day it was raining, it was cloudy, and as soon as we reached the top, as soon as we reached the outlook, the sun came out from behind the clouds and a rainbow came out. And this scene, as you can see, it's magical. The last one I'm going to talk about is this picture, shot already in the Negev, a little south of the city of Arad, where the trail actually gets a little tougher. And the reason I like it, it's taken at night, as you can see. Since I shot it on a very wide lens, there's a lot of desert around us. And you can see this immense amount of desert, and you can see there's absolutely nothing there. It's just us, the tent, and the desert. And this really is what it feels like. Yes, I think that anyone that's in even half decent shape can complete the trail, but, and it's a huge but, you have to really be smart about it. Get in shape a little bit, at least to start off the first week or so, and then don't start off with all the weight, because especially if you start from the north, you can stay over with trail angels, or you can find places to stay. You can buy food along the way. It's very easy, so you don't have to carry everything on your back. And then you give yourself 2, 3, 4 weeks to kind of get into the rhythm of things. Then yes, absolutely, I think anyone can do it. And it would probably take about 2.5 months. Between the town of Sde Boker and the town of Mitzpe Ramon, there are 2 days of hiking. Both are very long, and there's no water in between. You can't just stop anywhere along the way because it's a nature reserve. On our first day, my siblings and cousins came and joined us. When the sun started setting, we noticed there was absolutely no way we were going to make it. So we had to go out of the trail, go back to a different campground, so my cousins and siblings can be picked up and we could stay there. However, that meant that we added 10 kilometers or 7 miles to the next day. What happened the next day was that we had one day to walk a marathon, literally a marathon, 42 kilometers, and we left, I believe, at 5 in the morning. We reached the place where we stayed in Mitzpe at 10 p.m. So we walked almost continuously from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. And the next day we couldn't get out of bed. We were in the desert. This was about a week or a week and a half before the end of the trail. And I saw this bird on a bush. And I took my camera out and slowly started approaching it, taking pictures. So every 2 steps I'd take a picture. And then when I got about 3 feet away from it, it looked at me kind of oddly, flew towards me, and just landed on my backpack. And just stood there. So I gave Rotem, my hiking partner, I gave her the camera very slowly. And she managed to snap 2 pictures when the bird was still there, kind of posing with me. And that's it. And then it flew away. The cool thing about the trail is that it doesn't really go on the major sites. It just keeps you kind of on the outskirts of places. So I wouldn't say that there's anything that I've heard about the trail that was overrated. I could definitely tell you what's overlooked. The Eilat Mountains, the scenery, the landscape, the land formations are just out of this world. And this is one of the places that when we were hiking through it, we just kept saying, I can't believe this is Israel. I just can't believe this is Israel. I did read a lot about the trail before I've left. What you really need to think about is the bottom third of the trail. And the reason is you've got to plan ahead in terms of water and food. What we've done is that we've started from the north, and then when we reached the desert, we took a day off, and we just buried food and water along the way, all the way down to Eilat, and then we just kept going. And then we knew where food and water was, and that kind of filled our gaps. For proper wildlife photography, you need 2 things. Get up very early and have a ton of time. Get up very early, check. Have a ton of time. When you have to walk 15, 20 miles a day, you don't have a ton of time. So in terms of wildlife, I do have some photos I'm going to share with you, but they're a little more storytelling rather than proper wildlife. So this is the town of Mitzpe Ramon, which I've mentioned before, right on the northern rim of the Ramon crater. The town is very tiny and surrounded by desert. So these animals were there before people. And they just wander into town, feed off the grass. You can see the kids in the background, just some local kids sitting and hanging out. And this guy was just eating grass right besides them, and they couldn't care less because they see it every day. To me, just as a visitor, then this was extraordinary. This was great. This was, something very special. Up north, you can pretty much determine how much you walk a day because you have lots of places to stop along the way. In the north and in the center of Israel, easy. And in the desert, you stop where there's water. And this is it. I would say an average day is about 20 kilometers, which is 13, 14 miles. The longer days are 20 miles. No, you absolutely do not hunt on the trail because wildlife in Israel is protected. Plus, there aren't any large animals to hunt other than antelopes, and they are fiercely protected. You eat mainly tahini sauce and bread. And if you're feeling luxurious, then you add some avocado and onions, and you pack some rice or quinoa or lentils, anything that you can carry dry, and then it really the really increases in volume when you add water. Also, nuts is really important for fatty acids and for energy in the sense of just adding up calories. And a lot of dehydrated fruit for energy. My professional background is traveling and photography. So my post-army trip extended to 6 years. And over time, I realized that this is really what I want to do. This sense of discovery and finding new places and meeting new people. The best way of doing it is through photography, because also I really like telling stories, and photography is a great way of storytelling. So I think the best story I've had as a professional photographer actually happened after the trail, when I was sent to Rwanda to shoot a documentary, and I had a week for myself after the project, and I ended up going to DRC, to the Congos. Right on the Rwandan border, there's Virunga National Park. There's a volcano right across the border that a National Geographic expedition went down it and did this amazing research. You hike up for 6 hours. Then when you reach the top and you look over the rim, and you actually get to see and hear and smell the bowels of planet Earth, this is just mind-boggling. And then on top of this, being able to take pictures, and if you go on my YouTube channel, you'll see some time-lapse video I've done of it. It's amazing. It's just amazing. One of the most powerful experiences on the trail is meeting trail angels. And trail angels are people that take you in and let you stay with them in their own home. And these are people that just have a basic trust in humans. And if you're a trail hiker, you're just welcomed in their house. Yes, the trail is all within the internationally agreed borders of Israel, so it doesn't go through the Golan Heights, and it doesn't go through through Palestine. So it's only within the Green Line. The main thing is start slow. You don't want to injure yourself, as I did, in the first week of hiking. So if you can prepare yourself physically. The other thing is make sure you take care of your diet. So eat healthy as much as you can. Don't be stingy on buying the good stuff like dehydrated fruit and nuts and stuff that are easy to carry but are really good for you, as you're losing so much minerals and you're using so much energy every day. The most important tip I can give you is that remember that you're doing this for yourself. You don't have to check a box. You don't have to hit every spot. You can hitchhike if you want. You can rest for a day. You can go visit a friend if you feel like just resting. I can honestly tell you that every single day we were on the trail, we absolutely loved it. Alright guys, thank you very much for sending all these questions. It was a pleasure to answer them. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about the trail. And come to Israel, hike Israel, see it for your own eyes, and definitely get off the beaten path.